Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got another commentary for you straight from the Feels Factory, and it ties into the last one that we talked about used to watch. It's a personal one. It doesn't have a super concise goal or message or anything, but it's what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, so that's what we're going to talk about. And the subject is the high price to pay for having high morals, because I've tried to run a good YouTube channel for a long time and make the moral choices, and it's just recently dawned on me the magnitude of the price that I've had to pay for that. And again, this kind of came from E3 and maybe a few events before where I've been meeting people and talking to them. I've been talking to current YouTubers, former YouTubers that have formed businesses, retired, grown into mega brands, formed gaming companies, took high-paying corporate jobs, and lots of other really cool things like that. And good on them. This is not a hate video on them whatsoever, but it made me realize just how much I've underutilized this YouTube channel, at least monetarily. How much bigger I could have been, how much more I could have done, and the opportunities that were there. And I probably wouldn't have realized this without having met so many friends and peers, or former peers, I should say, that have been making a killing off of YouTube. They have left me and joined an entirely new club of cool kids and sort of left me behind. I used to think that I was doing really well just to survive, just to pay bills, and that everything was great. That's because I had a house that had 2 stories, I have air conditioner, I have food, cars, I have pets, and I don't have a wife. My wife chooses to stay with me, which is a blessing. But for the first time in my life, I had stability. I had something to cling on to, something that was real and tangible that I could say that I owned, and I wasn't moving or changing houses every year or two. I wasn't subject to having to leave in the middle of the night. And that comes up with growing up in a not so great household and growing up ludicrously poor. And I didn't realize this until I was older, but the poverty that I experienced as a kid was pretty extreme. The only thing I didn't have to deal with is starvation. My family had a pretty big fixation on food, so we didn't starve. But everything else was really, really damn extreme, and that perhaps may have shortened my horizons a bit. It may have stunted the understanding of the possibilities that were out there, who or what I could have become. And then I started seeing what other YouTubers were up to recently, and I'd known that people do well for a long time, and it's again not a hate on them, but I started to see the numbers attached to it very recently, because for whatever reason people were very open with it, and I started seeing the millions and millions and millions that I have missed out on, because I assure you those millions are not things that I have. I have much less than that. And the reason that I missed out on a lot of these things was because of the moral choices that I made in the past. So the short version about me, if you don't happen to be subbed here, and since like 75% of my views come from non-subscribers now because the algorithm does weird algorithm things that I can't even pretend to understand with my peasant human brain, I'll just let Google do it. I have tried to run an honest YouTube channel for a super long time, and having a high moral standard is something that's been important for me. I've been doing FTC disclosures here on this channel of sponsorships and things since before the FTC was even involved with YouTube. They even offered to pay me more to not do that in many cases. And I've tried to run it clean, honest, entertaining, no scamming people. And I've had 3 basic guiding principles over time. 3 really simple ones. Number 1 is do no harm. It's the same kind of principle that we had when Google first founded, and obviously that's changed over time. But I basically don't want to harm anybody, anywhere, even a little bit. Anything that I do here should be at least neutral, if not beneficial to people. Number 2 is to never lie. I hate lying. Lying is just something that I find grimy and deceitful and unsettling. I just don't like it. I'm not comfortable with it. I can do it. I'm good at lying, but I don't want to. I don't want to have to do that anymore. So never lie. And number 3, which is to be true to yourself. And that's a little bit of a harder one because you have to know yourself as well, but to make it short and simple, you don't want to do a business thing that's against something that would be your personal morals. You don't want to do anything that makes you uncomfortable. You don't want to participate in something for money that you wouldn't do without the money. It's hard to be true to yourself because you have to know yourself first, but once you get a good understanding of who you are, it's not that hard to do. Looking at it introspectively over time, all 3 of these simple guiding principles are ones that come from a broken household. They're things that I experienced in a very negative sense as a child that I no longer want to experience as an adult or to push onto others. So, and do no harm. Well, obviously, I got harmed a lot. I don't want that to happen. Never lie. I was forced to lie a ton and navigate lies and understand lies and learn who was lying and why they were lying. And a lot of games about lying and misdirection and misinformation from a very, very young age. That was harmful to me, and I don't want that. And be true to yourself is similar to the not lie one in that I had to play roles depending on who I was talking to and what I was doing and where I was. There was a totally different role to play to fit into this niche of a sort of broken family mechanic. And that's not something I wanted to do anymore. I wanted to be open and honest and free here. So in order to stay true to all of these things, I had to turn down some very, very serious business opportunities. Looking back, those business opportunities could have added up to probably millions of dollars over time. There was the first one that comes to mind is the original big crazy YouTube opportunity, the flat rate Machinima MCN. That was where Machinima was paying a flat rate just straight across the board for all views if you signed on to their channel business model thing. At the time, I had been with them for a bit and I was working on various projects and I saw this. And they'd honestly not been that great of a company to me, but I reached out via email and I told them that I don't want to be a part of this. And you're going to say, what? Are you crazy? Why would you not want to be a part of this? And the short answer is that I thought that it was a bad business model. I was in business school at the time, so I was learning all these things. And I told Machinima that I didn't think this was a good business model. It wasn't sustainable. It wasn't right for creators. It wasn't right for them, that surely they would go bankrupt or something bad would happen. So I didn't want to be a part of that. And I wasn't a part of that, and I didn't get any of that money over time, and it went on for like 8 months, and then finally I said, you know what, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it is sustainable, maybe it's great, maybe I should sign on, and like, I sent an email saying, hey, I want to do this flat rate MCN thing, CPM thing, and they just bombed, it just went bust the very next day. And the reason I didn't want to participate is I felt like I would be a bad partner. If I was a business partner with them and I participated in it, I would have been a bad partner. And that wouldn't have been honest, and it wouldn't have helped either of us, and it wasn't something I was super comfortable with, so missed a lot of money there. Not too long after that, I joined IGN, and I was offered a 6-figure sponsorship from a very big brand company, one that you 100% would be aware of, but I turned it down because the product wasn't very good. It was a company, I'm not going to name because I signed an NDA, it was about a $150K deal or something, but it was just not a good product. It would not have been good for my fans. There would have been a lot of people that bought it, and it wasn't like the worst. It wasn't a scam or anything, but it just wasn't something. It wasn't something that I ever would have spent my money on. It was not something that I saw any value in, so I decided to turn that down and skip that. Moving on, not too long after that, MLG.TV came around when the Call of Duty scene was shifting up in Black Ops 2, and they were trying to start a streaming service, and they were like buying streamers. It started off with the COD pros, and then PewDiePie, and then they had people from the crew, and they had like League of Legends streamers briefly, and they were just like paying people like crazy to come stream on the platform. And I was a small guy. I was like a peasant. I didn't even really have the technology to stream that well or that much, and my following wasn't big for any streaming capacity, but it was on YouTube, and there was some interest in me streaming there, and I kind of fished it out and talked to them, and I was kind of trying to see what they were going to offer, but I wasn't super comfortable with it because I didn't think it was great for my fans. I just wouldn't want to push my fans to stream on a different platform that wasn't as good as Twitch, and the business model was bad. I knew that whatever offer was made was not one that they could have ever afforded to pay me. So I just like, you know what, this isn't right. I'm going to screw MLG, and they'll pay me more than I'm worth, and I'll screw my fans by pushing them to some platform that's not even good, and it's just not good for anybody. Well, I was a sucker again because a lot of people made a whole metric shit ton of money on MLG and just kind of left, and I just stayed back in Town, back in Ramen Land, you know. There was an opportunity for a channel exclusivity buyout. I don't think I ever talked about this one before. There was another group that wanted to buy my entire channel. Not that they were going to take it over and run it, but they wanted to buy it, and they wanted to buy the exclusivity. They wanted to buy my videos on their network for like 1 week before I could post them on my channel, and that just seemed shitty to fans. Like, they followed me here on YouTube, they've been with me here forever, and I'm like, I'm just going to take all this money and post all that content somewhere else, and it can come here filtered like weeks later when nobody really wants to watch it. And it was about a 100K opportunity. I was like, I don't want to do that. Then comes Minecraft, and I didn't get into Minecraft during the explosion because I didn't really like it that much, but it was doing good. So you probably saw this phase where I tried to experiment with Minecraft. I did the Hunger Games. I tried to do some stuff with J-Hub, and I was kind of exploring making a server with MC Pro hosting. Those guys would go on to found Mixer, which I'm working at now, coincidentally. Funny how that pans out. And, you know, I was thinking like, well, maybe I can play Minecraft and I can get into this and I can open up a new avenue for my channel. But it wasn't really true to me. I didn't really like it. I didn't really get into it. I couldn't force myself to fake like it, so to speak. It wasn't super honest or genuine, and that comes back to number 3 of be true to yourself. And it felt like I would be lying to fans to do something that I didn't like, so I skipped it. And also the servers were largely funded by microtransactions, which I utterly hated, and it would be wrong to criticize that in a game and then do it in a server. And that was an opportunity in the magnitude of millions of dollars that I just missed out on. Yay, go me. Awesome. Not very awesome at all. I was aware of a lot of the CSGO gambling, and it's PUBG gambling and Dota gambling, and pretty much every gambling website I've seen and had offers from like free skins all the way up to like $10,000 or $15,000 per video post or stream or whatever, because there's ludicrous money in gambling. But that did actual harm. Like, that actually did harm people, because you don't win at gambling. The house always wins. Some of the sites were fair and legit, but the house would always win, and some were just legit scams. So totally skipped that one, missed all that money. There was the year that Infinite Warfare came around, and this was more of a personal one for me, because the channel is, even still, primarily a big Call of Duty channel, even though I attempt to do other things. Call of Duty is the thing that sticks here. I was coming in hot right off Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 was like the craziest, hottest shit my channel has ever experienced. It was the most views I've ever had, the most success I've ever had, the fastest sub growths. I was streaming for like 5K viewers every single day, every single night. And Infinite Warfare rolled around, and damn was I ever not feeling it. Like, God bless. I think I joined the Infinite Warfare hate train relatively early, and I took innumerable L's from the Call of Duty community when I said I wouldn't post it. But it was one of those things about never lying. I didn't want to lie to my fans. I didn't want to tell them the game is great when it wasn't. And it wouldn't be true to myself to play the game like, oh boy, this is hype. Get these robot dogs and these space things. Yeah. It just wasn't right. So I took all of that awesome momentum and hype coming in from Black Ops and just like threw it in the garbage. It was like starting from scratch with Overwatch and PUBG and all these other sort of things. There were other deals I've had that didn't pan out, and more recently, an offer from Facebook Gaming, which I can say almost nothing about because I signed a non-disclosure agreement, other than obviously I'm not on Facebook right now, but that one came across as the do no harm thing. Like, does Facebook actually do harm? I mean, it harvests data, and their money is not in advertisement. It's in brand management, opinion management, election advice, and sort of like people hacking. It's managing and influencing behavior is the value in Facebook Gaming. So why would I want to stream there and encourage my fans, especially younger fans, to participate in that? So that was another deal of monetary value that I can't speak about that I turned down. And the end result of all of this is I still get by, and my YouTube channel does well, and you can get on Social Blade and be like, well, Drifter, you're clearly not poor, and that's very, very true. But I never really got, like, super rich like some of these people. I didn't get that, like, retire at 25 and get a big mansion and ride horses and sports cars, and, like, you're kind of like, you're made, you know, you're set for life. You can't fail. There's always, like, 5 fallbacks for you to go to. That never really happened, and some of that I think was just growing up as a really broke kid. That can like push people to have like ludicrous ambitions sometimes. But for me, I was satisfied with comfort, and I never looked for too much else. Looking back on all of this, I kind of wish I'd taken that flat rate CPM from Machinima and from MLG.TV, because those were deals that just, that's their fault for making bad deals, and it's not my responsibility to lecture them on business practices. Maybe the Minecraft thing, maybe I didn't play it enough, maybe I could have done better on that one, but it was more of a personal thing, and then I couldn't get into it. But I also, even though I didn't like explode and retire and buy Lamborghinis and shit, I never had to compromise on my 3 moral lines. I never had to give up a part of myself. I never had to give up a part of my soul. I never had to bend the knee. I got to run this train my way all the way through. Looking back at all of this and my behavior, I end up thinking about Westworld a lot, the TV show, where they have the robots, and the robots are in some way aware of what they are and how they're made, and the fact that they're made to feel and think a certain way instead of it just happening out of some sort of magic. And over time, I've begun to understand more about myself, more of how I'm made, and why I choose and do the things that I do. And in short, I don't know how else to say it other than I know what I'm made of. And I know that given a situation, I will always choose others instead of myself, even when the others is sort of this vague, ambiguous, the group, the people, the subs, the invisible faces that I've never seen before, the environment, the intangible, innumerable effect in the greater society. I will choose that over something good for myself almost every single time. It's just a part of my nature. Another part of my nature, growing up how I did, is that I'm distrustful of the easy path, and I want to walk away from it. Anytime I see something that's too easy, some opportunity that's, it's like too good to be true, too juicy to pass up, something that anybody else would just jump on, I immediately like, whoa, scary, danger, danger, Will Robinson, danger, you got to back away, there's something wrong with it, Even when there's not something wrong with it, I just believe that good things can't be easy, and I believe that good things are sometimes traps, because I've been burned over and over again. But there is a quote that I like, that I think it's from some movie, I can't even remember, but it makes sense to me. It was a saying that good things take time, but great things happen all at once. And I do believe that's true. The greatest things in your life will just hit you like a ton of bricks and just send you on a path that you had no idea you even wanted to be on. So you got to be prepared to jump on it. And my natural scarediness kind of pushed me away from some of those. And the final thing is, it makes me sick to be untrue to myself. And by that I mean, I don't like being compelled to do things. I don't like being made to do things. I don't like being made to say a certain thing or endorse a thing or participate with a group or do something that makes me even slightly uncomfortable. It makes me nauseous, makes me sick. Sometimes the cost is low, sometimes it's very, very high, but I don't like being forced to play a role or forced to be disingenuous to somebody or anything like that. So regardless of what the cost is, or the price to participate, I almost always choose no, because I can't settle with that in my heart. And I think it's because as a kid I just had to play so many roles, I'm just not gonna fucking do it anymore. And looking toward the future, I guess it's good in a way. I probably wouldn't be nearly as well-rounded or as good of a person if I'd been buying sports cars at 15 and already retired 6 years ago and crazy stuff like that. I'm going to keep doing things on my own term. I'm going to stick to those 3 goals, those 3 principles, and I'm going to keep operating my YouTube entertainment businessy sort of thing the way I want to, and not the way that people think that I should or the way that other people do. I'm going to make my choices by my rules. And I also got to realize that life isn't really about just making as much money as possible. That's something that you look into a lot. That's in America, at least in the West, we think about it a lot. Oh man, if I had more money, I would be happy. And yeah, that's true up to a point. Money buys you happiness up to like a fixed point, then it doesn't really. It buys you comfort and security, but it's not satisfying in and of itself, and that perhaps myself and many other YouTubers should focus less on ad rates and views and more about the projects that make us happy, more about the things that make us feel fulfilled, about changing the world the way that, and hopefully in a positive light, and the way that we see fit, and things like that, and not just not just subs and views and grubbing all the time. Though I gotta admit, Facebook gaming does look tempting. Jesus Christ, that's an opportunity that looks tempting, and it makes me sweat thinking about having to turn it down. But I'm probably going to do that a second time soon. But hopefully this has been enlightening. Hopefully you learned something, even if it was nothing. It feels good for me to talk about these things, to kind of get it off my chest and rant about it, even if, I don't know, what do you think? I guess it doesn't matter because I'm doing this for my own self-enjoyment. If you did enjoy this video, I hope you like, favorite, and subscribe. If not, just leave a comment and tell me why, or why you do, or don't. I don't know. Drifter out.